Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning here, nice, bright and early at the Karl Schwartz House. I'm so happy, I'm thrilled, I'm amused, excited to be your speaker today to talk about truth. Yeah. So my name is Ashley Renee d'Entremont Matthaus. I am a U.S. American and have lived here in Germany for almost 13 years now. I came here back in January of 2010. My partner is German and have just been here ever since and established my life then here. I work right here in the Karl Schwartz House. We are in the lovely library today. I am in charge of the English courses for adults and companies, as well as our German-American business community and our filmmaking club, which will meet tomorrow at 11 if you're interested in coming. If you would like to talk to me about any of these things, I would be happy to do so after the talk. So today we are here to talk about truth. And you might find it odd, absurd, or amusing that they chose an American to come and talk about truth. Right? I also think so. There's a lot of, truth is a buzzword in the US, it's a buzzword now in the world, and I'm here to talk about it from my perspective, actually. And I'm hoping to also hear your perspective, hoping for a lot of audience engagement today. Then I won't need to speak as much myself. So let's get started with truth. What do you think of when you hear the word truth? You can toss out some ideas. What's the first thing that comes to mind? Maybe you can't handle the truth. Yeah, what do you think?
Facts.
Facts.
Openness.
Openness, good.
Being authentic.
Authentic. Religion.
Religion. Oh.
Courage.
Courage, okay.
Questionable.
Questionable.
Proof.
Nice. Proof. Mm-hmm.
Secrets.
Secrets. Oh, I like that one. Yeah. Okay.
Donald Trump.
We won't go there today. So I think that truth is also quite, as opposed to universal, I think that truth is actually quite personal. Yeah? And I want to think about what it means and what it means to us personally. Yeah? So what does truth mean to you then personally? So you had this idea of, okay, what is truth? And you had all these words that came out and came with it. But what does truth mean to you? Maybe your truth. I'll give you a moment to reflect a little bit.
Honesty.
Honesty, okay.
Knowing who we are and therefore connecting to our own inner truth.
Mm-hmm. Your inner truth. Yeah.
I also think that's part of accepting myself.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very subjective.
Yeah.
It's like my story of the world.
Mm-hmm. Right? Your story, your truth.
I actually think could be objective as well.
Okay.
For example, science requires you have truth. You tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Lies.
That's right. So we have these opposing views. It can be subjective, it can be objective. And so what does it then actually mean? And so truth, to me, is also, as we mentioned, I think some people also said, honesty, authenticity, and just being genuine, right? And your truth. When I first came here to Germany, I noticed that the Germans really embrace this concept of truth and this universal truth, and that it is either true or it is not true, that there's that is it, right? And I find that in German culture it is also quite refreshing because the Germans tell it like it is, right? They tell you the truth. You might not want to hear the truth, but they tell it to you. Yeah? So I feel like truth can be so many different things. Excuse me. Truth can be refreshing, truth can be scary, truth can be honest, truth can be innovative also. And so we're going to first go about truth in a little bit more of a personal fashion, and then we're going to get into more of a cultural fashion of it. Because truth can do so much. And so as I said, I first came here in January of 2010. I didn't speak German at all. So I said, okay, I need to work. I need to make some money. What can I do? I can teach English. Yeah? So that's what I did. And as an English teacher, you have to have a whole bunch of icebreakers. Do you know what icebreakers are? Yeah, to break the ice, right? You have to have them at the ready. And one of my go-to icebreakers is 2 truths and a lie. Are you familiar with 2 truths and a lie?
I think so, yes.
Yeah? Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to say 3 things. 1, 2, 3. And they're about yourself. One of those things is a lie. Yeah? And then the people within the group or within the room have to then say which the lie is. Yeah? And so just purely based on, so here, some of us know each other, some of us don't know each other at all, some of us are colleagues, or maybe we've seen each other once before. But based on your knowledge of that person, based on the setting that they're in, you need to then decide, okay, number 1's the lie, or number 2's the lie, or number 3's the lie, right? Do I have any volunteers who would like to do 2 truths and a lie? Or should I go first? Yeah? Okay, how about that? I'll go first, and then we'll try to get some of you to do it as well. So, this is my go-to for me, 2 truths and a lie. Number 1, I used to have green hair. Number 2, I played the drums in a band. And number 3, I was born in Alaska. Some of you know me, some of you don't. Some of you are good friends, some of you are colleagues. What do you think? What am I lying about?
Playing in a band.
Okay, playing in a band. Anybody else?
I
Hands?
think you were not born in Alaska.
You think I was not born in Alaska?
I agree.
Okay, so 2 for not born in Alaska, 1 for not playing in a band.
You definitely had green hair.
Okay, green hair is definitely true. Any other thoughts? No? Okay. Well, I was in fact born in Alaska.
Wow.
This is very true. And it is true, I also used to have green hair, yes. But I never played drums in a band. Yeah. We will get into the intricacies of those things in just a moment, but I would like to hear maybe a volunteer, somebody feeling brave, want to share their truth. Yeah, Louisa.
I can go. Okay, so I play badminton for a very long time already, and when I was younger there were championships also for the young people, and I was in the top 3 of Germany's young players under 15 when I was younger. That's the first one. And the second one was my dad used to drive a lot of motorcycle, or he still is, and he took me along since I was 6 or 7 years old.
On the motorcycle?
On the motorcycle. And I was sleeping there in the back. Whatever happened, he took me along. And then the third one, I'm very much into languages, so I learned a lot of languages in school, English and French for 13 years, and I learned Swedish and Portuguese and a bit of Spanish and Norwegian and and a little bit of Dutch, so I have a little bit of knowledge in all of those languages.
Wow, I hope that one's true. So, first one, badminton champ. Second one, motorcycle with the dad as a kid. And then third one, multilingual. Yeah? What do we think?
Sleeping on the back of the motorcycle with your dad.
I think that one's true just because it sounds so dangerous, right? I think that one's true.
I guess badminton.
I think badminton too.
I think so.
We think that you're bad at badminton.
Okay, So yeah, I'm actually, I should have added, I have a motorcycle license as well, because I do. So the motorcycle one is true, actually. So I also have a license, I should have added that. And I also, I'm very interested in 2 languages, and I got into this, like the state level of badminton, but not the national level. So I do play a lot of badminton since more than 20 years, but not the national level. Yeah.
Okay. I would also like to point out, Louisa, you are German, yes? Look at all of the context that Louisa gave us with those 3 things. I gave you 3 little teeny tiny sentences and no context for that. Yeah, Louisa gave us full stories, painted these lovely pictures and terrible lies. Yeah? Would anybody else like to go? We could probably do one more, and then I'll delve into mine a little bit more. Yeah, Monica, do you want to? Or Ariana? Yeah, I think Ariana might, or sis.
I will try.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I watched my favorite movie 4 times in the cinema. I have a dog. And I have over 300 books at home.
Oh, okay. So watched favorite movie 4 times in the cinema. She has a dog and over 300 books at home. I think you don't have a dog.
Yeah, I also
We
thought,
don't have a dog. That was too short.
Not enough details about the dog.
I think she looks like she could have a dog. So I would rather say the last one, maybe not 300 books.
Maybe more.
I
Yeah.
guess the movie. So, unfortunately, I have a dog.
Oh.
And yeah, I watched my favorite movie 4 times, so the books are wrong.
So we're just inspired by all these books.
What's the favorite movie?
Marvel Endgame.
Okay. Okay. Very nice. Good. Should we do one more? Or do you want to hear more about mine? Yeah, you want to hear more about mine? Okay. Again, I would also like to point out, quite interesting, she looks like she has a dog, right? You have this, and that's what you do within this game. You're drawing on what you see and what you know of this person, right? Or what you don't know of this person. Whoops. There you go. There we go. Okay. So, let's get into my 2 truths and a lie. So, as I revealed, I did not play drums in a band. However, I did play the drums, and I was in a band, right? So there are partial truths to this lie, right? Because I did play drums for the band at my school, right? A big band as opposed to an actual on-stage rock and roll kind of band. And I was in a band for about 2 practice sessions, but I was on vocals for that. Yeah. If you look at the I used to have green hair one could also argue that I never had green hair because I used a temporary dye because my hair is naturally brown and therefore is and will always be brown. Huh? And so out of these, then you look at I was born in Alaska. That's got to be 100% true then, right? Because you can't, if I say I was born in Alaska, that's where I was born. Yeah, no falsehoods to that. However, a lot of times people tie where they were born with where they were from. And I would never say that I'm from Alaska. Why? Because I was born in Alaska, I lived there for maybe a year, and then we moved. Yeah, we moved a lot. And so the question of where are you from is very difficult for me to answer actually, without feeling like I'm lying. Yeah? How do I tell the truth when it comes to this question? When I first came to Germany, on your CV you put where you were born. I put I was born in Alaska. They'd say, oh wow, Alaska, great, you know, the mountains and kayaking and snow and skiing. And I said, those are all wonderful things. I like them too, but I know nothing about them in Alaska. I'm sorry. Or they would say, oh, they would introduce me as this is Ashley from Alaska. This is not true. Yeah, the American in the audience is laughing. I say that I'm from Maine. And some people might look at that and say, well, you were not born in Maine. You didn't really live in Maine. I went to school there for a couple of years. But that's not true then. But to me, it is true. Because that's where my mother and father were raised. That's where they met. That's where my extended family still lives. So my mother and father no longer live there. My brother and sister also don't live there. But my grandmother, my grandfather, my aunts and uncles, my cousins are mainly all still in Maine. And so when I go home to visit, I go to Maine. When I tell people where I'm from, I say Maine, because that is my truth. Yeah. So I would like to now switch gears a little bit and get into defining what truth is, yeah? Because you have a difference within the language as well. So we have truth in English, and then we have Wahrheit in German. Okay? Truth is defined that which is true or in accordance with fact or reality. Wahrheit, das Wahrsein, die Übereinstimmung einer Aussage mit der Sache, über die sie gemacht wird, or Richtigkeit. Yeah. So first definition of truth in English and then the German definition seem to line up. Yeah, they make sense. They correspond with one another. But then when you look at this second definition of truth in English, a fact or belief that is accepted as true. For example, I am wearing a black dress today. Yeah? Or maybe some people might think that it's gray. But if we all here in the room agree that it is black, that is accepted as the truth that it is black. Maybe you remember this deal with the dress, is it gold or is it blue, from several years ago. This was also about the community coming together and saying, it is one, or no, it is the other. So truth has this cultural side to it then as well, based in the language, based in the people. Excuse me. I have a couple of examples for you of these cultural differences within truth. Frühstücksei versus a breakfast egg. Yeah? Oh, echt? Okay. In German, a breakfast egg would be a soft-boiled egg. To an English speaker, they might think of a fried egg or maybe scrambled eggs. But to each person, those things are true. Yeah? I would also like to share then an anecdote from me and my partner. We have the American yes versus the German ja, or when and how to accept an invitation. So, when I first came here to Germany, I moved in with my partner. He lived in a basement apartment, and the landlord invited us to his birthday party. Yeah? Our basement apartment opened up to the garden, so our front door opened up to where the party would be. The landlord invited us personally, and we accepted. And then, end of the week came, my partner said, okay, you know, party's going, we should go out and join the party. And I said, no, why? And he said, well, we said that we would go. And I said, no, we didn't. He got very frustrated then, and he said, yes, actually, you were the one that said that we would go to the party. And I said, well, yeah, I said yes, but he doesn't think that we're actually going to go. And my partner, who is German, said, yes, he does expect us to go because you said that you would go. And so I thought about it for a moment and thought, okay, this is a difference between my partner taking words at face value. I said yes, so that means yes, it must be yes. Whereas I was saying yes and being polite. So then I explained this to him. And then I also said, well, he didn't actually invite us. And my partner goes, well, what do you mean he didn't actually invite us? He said, do you want to come to my party? And we said, yes, that's black and white. This is very clear. And I said, well, he was only doing it to be polite because the party's happening right outside of our door and it would be awkward if he didn't invite us. Yeah, it might be seen as rude. And my partner said, no, it would be awkward if we don't go to the party because we said that we would. And then so we went back and forth about this for a little while and then finally agreed that, okay, obviously there was a misunderstanding here, culturally based, because me as an American, I assumed that the invitation was not a true one. I thought it was just a polite one or a nice truth. Yeah? Therefore, I accepted also not in full truth, but in this nice, polite truth. Yeah? And my partner, being German, said there was an invite. We said, yes, we go. Yeah? So we went to the party and made an appearance and had a lovely time. I thought that it would just be a quick hello and then a French exit. But turns out when you go to a German party, you have to introduce yourself to every single person there. You have to shake their hand. You have to say hello and good evening, cheers, sing happy birthday. And then when it is time to go, you also have to go up to everyone, again, shake their hands, knock on the table, say goodbye, see you next time. There is no quick and easy way to say goodbye in German. It just doesn't happen. Yeah? If there's time, I have one more anecdote, but if you say we should wrap it up, then I'll wrap it up.
Do you think?
Another one.
Yeah? Okay. So this happened quite recently. So that was, 10 years ago, or almost 13 years ago, actually. This happened just 3 weeks ago. I went to school in England, in Canterbury. That's where I met my partner, who is German, and I had a Greek roommate who actually lives in Italy. And so you have this wonderful mix of cultures coming together and this intercultural communication coming together as well. And so she told me that she was going to be in town. She was coming to Freiburg. And so she said, hey, I'm in town this week. And then I have 3 different responses up here so you can see. So Antigone, who's the Greek who lives in Italy, in hearing this, she would say, great, if you want, we can get together, maybe Thursday. Me, as the American, wanting to see her, would say, awesome, let's get together. How about maybe Thursday at 12? And the German, it's a little difficult to see here, I know. Alex would say, let's meet here on Thursday at 12 so we can take a hike and have a picnic in the woods. I will make sandwiches and you can bring fruit. Don't forget water. Yeah, right? So there is no discrepancy, right? You know exactly what's going to happen. Yeah? So in conclusion, I just want to share that truth is not black and white. Truth is based in all of these cultural factors as well. Truth is personal. And that truth is a matter of culture, communication, and understanding. Thank you so much for having me today.
Actually, I have a question.
Yes, questions. Wonderful. Yeah, happy to.
How does it work in America then to invite somebody? I don't get it.
Well, the thing is, you have a bit of a double tap, I like to say, that happens, right? Maybe the Americans in the audience can agree with this as well. So if, for example, you do have a party coming up, you have invitations and you let people know, hey, I'm having a party, it's this date and this time. If you have those specific details that come with it, then it's a true invite. Yeah? Whereas if you just say, oh, this is happening, it might not be. It can also be based on the relationship, though. Yeah. So if you don't really know somebody, or you say, "Oh, they're only inviting me because one time I dated their sister, and they know that I live in the neighborhood." Yeah. So there's a lot of context then that's there as well. That's unspoken. That's unseen. And so really, it depends on the situation. It depends on the relationship that you have with them, and there is confusion that happens. It's not, I wouldn't say that it's clear either. Maybe the other Americans in the audience can attest to this, that sometimes you think that, oh, that wasn't a real invite, but they might think that it was a real invite. Yeah? And that's just how we live. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question for maybe the German people here. So do you think that was a real invitation, or it's just a... Yeah.
Yes.
Having lived in Canada for a long time, I struggled at the beginning with this, let's do lunch someday. It was like, oh, we've talked about lunch, but it never happened. I found it very confusing until I realized, okay, it's kind of an empty, let's get together, it might happen, maybe not, if we cross paths again, but at the end, most of the time, it never happened.
But I would say then it's not actually empty, though, because you don't say that if you don't like someone, right? And saying that and saying, hey, let's get together sometime with no concrete facts, no concrete dates, no concrete plans. It's just saying, yes, I like you, I enjoy your company, and it would be nice if that happened at some point. Yeah? Yeah, so it's not entirely. However, there are some people, sure, that can use it to be fake, and they just say, "Oh yeah, let's do lunch," and they don't actually mean it. That's also possible. Yeah, but in general, so for example, since I knew that she was here and in town, I said, "Let's do Thursday at 12," because I knew that she would be here Thursday. Maybe 12 would be a good time for her. If I had just said, "Yeah, let's get together," and left it open, it would just be, "Yes, I would like to see you." If it could come to be, who knows, and just put the ball then back in her court. Yeah. So it's also that ping pong effect too of, well, I'm not going to make the decision, maybe they will make the decision then. Yeah. And it also comes with offers too. For example, when you, I offer Nicole a cup of coffee and she says, "No, thanks, I'm good." And then I say, "Well, are you sure? I just made a pod. It's nice and hot." And she says, "No, I don't think so. I think I'm good." And I say, "Well, here, just let me pour you a cup." "Yeah, okay." And so maybe on the third time you actually accept. That's also a bit of politeness that maybe you see a lot in the Midwest, or yeah, yeah.
I have a similar anecdote to your Frühstücksei.
Yeah. This was from playing graffiti. The game where you have to draw?
No.
We had, it was me and a Canadian and 2 Germans. And the clue was Frühstücksei because we were playing in German. And so with graffiti, everyone draws and one person guesses. So me and the Canadian and one of the Germans drew. Me and the Canadian drew a fried egg, and the German drew a soft-boiled egg, because that's Frühstücksei, right? Sorry, go ahead.
No. My story was that I stayed with a German friend and her husband, staying with them for a while, and getting up, having breakfast one day. It was also maybe my second year of living here. So I knew a bit about German culture, but not, obviously not everything, because I had the audacity to put milk in my muesli rather than yogurt. and my friend's husband, he looked at me and what I was doing, and he was like, What are you doing? I was like, well, just, like cereal.
Right, breakfast, yeah.
And I was like, isn't it better with yogurt?
Mm-hmm.
That too.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
it was like, you don't do that. You don't eat yogurt.
This is not right. This is...
This is a certain type of muesli that's only combined with yogurt, not milk.
Any other questions, comments?
No, I have one thing which also comes to my mind when it comes to truth and the German habits is, like, Germans tend to respond to the question, "How are you?" with the truth, how they feel in the moment, or how they really feel in this time. And actually, it's just, normally you just say, well, I'm fine, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a perfect example of that as well, where you have, that's why a lot of Germans might say, well, when Americans ask you, "How are you doing?" they don't mean it. That's not true, though. That's not true. We mean it, however, it is often used as part of a greeting. And so, for example, if you're passing somebody on the street, you say, "Oh, hey, how are you?" "Yeah, I'm good. How are you?" "Thanks, bye." Yeah, and you keep going. You don't stop and talk. To Germans doing that on the street, they say, "Oh, yeah, hi, guten Tag, wie geht's?" Yeah, da, da. And they talk for 5 minutes or so, right? Or they say, "Oh, how are you doing?" "Yeah, I'm okay, but actually I'm in a restaurant." So they give some sort of explanation so that they continue going, right? Yeah.
I find it also depends on whom you ask, "How are you doing?" Is it the cashier in the store, or is it a friend or a neighbor? And then there are different depths that you can get into with this question.
And also in asking it a second time. So having that double tap where you go back. And so first you say, "Oh, hi, Ariana, how are you? How are you doing?" And then you say, "Yeah, I'm good, thanks." And then I say, "I'm good, thanks." And then I say, "So, how is it? How are you?" Yeah. So then you get into that serious tone. You're already past the form of familiarities of the greetings, and then you get into, okay, well, how are you? How's your family? Yeah, how's your mom doing? Yeah, and then you get into that actual concern then that's there.
I have a question for the American people.
Sure.
So do you also have, you call strangers "Oh, my darling, my honey," sweetheart, something like that?
I think that depends on who you are and where you are. So, my grandmother, she'll call people sweetheart or honey, but That's also because she's an older person and it's a term of endearment for younger people. There are some men that might say sweetheart or honey to a woman, which I find to be inappropriate and do not like, and tell them that. But other Americans, I don't know if you would like to respond.
I think it's also a bit regional, yeah. Like I'm from the Northeast. If someone calls you sweetheart, they're giving you the middle finger. But in the South or the Midwest, it would maybe feel different. And it also, but in the South, it's all this like gentlemanliness, and it goes back to this sort of what you were just implying of like how men are supposed to treat women and stuff like that, which you can always debate. And then in the Midwest, I think, I don't know, it also had a different feeling.
Yeah, because I think in the UK, like I went to supermarket and the cashier is just like, "Hey, darling, how are you doing today?" or "Honey."
I think in the UK it's more common. They'll say love or darling. Yeah, that's true.
To strangers.
Yeah, to strangers also.
That's not true.
Yeah.
They just call it. They don't really like say because they feel so close to you or.
Well, in that sense, yeah. I wouldn't argue that it's a lie, though, because it's something where they're creating a welcoming, warm atmosphere. That's the goal of it. Then, in saying, "Oh, hi, honey, how are you doing today?" Yeah, even if they don't know you. Whereas maybe with your partner, you might say, "Oh, my honey, my darling," yeah, and you would use it in a different way as well. Yeah.
I think it does have this effect when it's not a guy, maybe being a little bit condescending or something, but when it's, in a hometown cafe or something and somebody comes up and says, "Oh, good morning, dear." And then it makes me feel like, oh, I feel at home.
You feel welcomed. Yeah.
I was also thinking with this, like, how are you doing question, I think it maybe also taps back into culture and perspective, because I think a lot of times when someone in passing says like, yeah, doing great, even if things are going really poorly for them on that day, what they're also communicating is like, my car's broken down, job sucks, like that would be like, it's also true, and like if you really want to talk about it, I'm sure they would talk about it, but like that's not what they want to talk about. They want to talk about like, yeah, things are good, and I think that is also maybe relevant in that question.
Yeah. Or they also might not have time to get into it as well, and they just don't want to. So they say, yeah, I'm all right. And so, I mean,
I live in the dream, and it's very clear to everyone.
Well, and then that's also where tone comes in as well, because you can say, yeah, I'm living the dream, I'm having a great day, or you can say, I'm living the dream. So depending on the tone of your voice as well. Or you'll say, terrible, but it's okay. Yeah, but it's all right, because overall everything's good, you just might be in a bad moment, as you said. Thank you again so much for coming. I don't know if, Louisa, if you have other things to say right now.
Yes, thank you.
Aww.
We have it.
Yeah.